Okay, so this one doesn't have butter.
This one doesn't have butter. It has olive oil instead.
There's olive oil, and you're frying in tallow?
We're frying in tallow. Yeah.
Where do you get beef tallow?
Oh, I love my butcher so much. He gave it to me for free. I just went there and I was like, hey, can I get some beef fat? And the look on his face, like, what do you want that for? It's like, I want to fry with it. Like,
No.
what else do you need it for?
You're supposed to fry with the tallow, right?
Yeah, you're supposed to fry with it.
Does no one do that anymore?
I guess no one does it anymore.
But you do?
I do. We're bringing it back. We're frying in beef tallow. No seed oils, none of the sunflower oil stuff, no canola oil, beef tallow. It's the way to go.
And you got it for free.
And I did get it for free. He just gave it to me. He just gave it to me for free. Hey everyone, welcome back to Chef Tyler's Croatian Kitchen, and finally it is Christmas time. Everything is aptly decorated and the Christmas market is almost open, and with the Christmas market we have our recipe from today, Friutle. The Friutle are known all throughout Croatia, even though they come from Dalmatia, and you can find them at any festival. At the Christmas market you can find at every single square, every little event, at least one little hut that is selling frittole, and I say at least because there's usually 2 or 3 in every location. Some of the bigger locations might have closer to 4 or 5. People love these. You can never get enough of them. And with the frittole, we're going to serve Kuhano Vino, or mulled wine, which is another staple at all the Christmas markets here. And honestly, it's the perfect thing to have on a cold day when you're walking around the city, something a little warm to keep you nice and happy. So for the frittole, the ingredients you will need are 4 cups of flour, 2 eggs, 1 tablespoon of oil. I'm going with olive oil because I like the taste, but you can go with any oil that you like. 1 tablespoon of rum, a half tablespoon or 1 packet of instant yeast, 1 packet of vanilla sugar. You can find vanilla sugar in the US. However, if for whatever reason you can't, 1 packet of vanilla sugar is about 1 to 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and then just add in an extra tablespoon of sugar. 1 to 1 1/4 cups of milk, and you'll need a fat for frying. We are going with beef tallow, which does not impart any sort of taste onto the finished frittole, and so is perfect for frying.
So we'll just go ahead and add all of our ingredients into a bowl except for the yeast. We'll add that a little bit later. So aside from the yeast, there's no order in which you need to add the ingredients. You can just put them in all at the same time and then start to mix to combine.
And then after it starts to get mixed a little bit, we'll add in our yeast. It is okay to add in the yeast and the rum at almost the same time because the amount of rum we're using isn't going to deactivate the yeast. Just mix everything together. Try not to get it onto your work surface like I just did. If you're using instant yeast, you don't have to proof the yeast to make sure it's alive. The point of instant yeast is that it is already alive.
Continue to mix everything together, and if it becomes too hard to use a spatula, you can move on to your hand. The dough will be very sticky, but just keep going until all the flour has been incorporated.
And once your dough comes together into a ball, we'll just take a dish towel on top and set it aside and let it rise. You want it to double in size before moving on to the frying. So while our frittole dough is rising, we'll go ahead and make our Kuhano Vino, or mulled wine. One of my favorite things to do is teach Croatians what Kuhano Vino is in English, because no one ever knows what it is. Kuhano Vino literally translates to cooked wine. So when you ask someone, they always say it's cooked wine. However, mulled wine. And mull is a word that I don't think you use in any other context other than mulled wine. So it makes sense why no one knows what it is.
Do you want
So,
etymology of mulled?
sure.
It's of drinks, sweetened and spiced.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, so
And-
it can't be mulled. That'd have to be a drink.
Joey can't be mulled.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry. No mulled Joey. I got this little packet of spices directly from my local spice store. All you have to do is dump it right in. However, if you can't find one of these, what you'll need are 1 to 2 cinnamon sticks, 8 to 10 cloves, 3 to 4 star anise, and sugar to taste. We also have an orange, which we have sliced, that we will put in with the wine while it cooks. So everything I gave you before was for one normal bottle of wine. First, we have to put the wine in. I don't actually know how much is a liter and a half. This is 2 liters. This is more than 2 bottles of wine. This is probably about 500 milliliters, right? About, give or take. 1, 2. This is definitely less than a 3-liter pot, but it's fine. The spices were not evenly mixed throughout, so I just threw it into another bowl, and we're gonna put half of this into our wine. Half, that's on top. Okay, and then we'll also add in our orange slices. 1, 2. This is a pretty big orange, so I think it'll be fine for 2. And we'll save some on the side so we can garnish at the end. Just take it over to the stove, and we'll let it sit till it comes up to a boil. The moment it comes up to a boil, turn the heat off. We are going to lose some alcohol to evaporation just because we're heating it up, but we want to minimize how much that is. As this is coming up to a boil, we'll go ahead and it's a sladiti, or we'll put some sugar in. Joey and I don't really like things that sweet, so we're going to go with maybe 2 of these tablespoons since it's 2 bottles in there. And we'll just go ahead and put this down and just mix up to dissolve. And also this helps get these spices all throughout the wine.
It smells fantastic.
I wish smell-o-vision was a thing and you could smell what we are smelling right now.
Tyler, what kind of wine can you use for this?
Oh my god, that completely slipped my mind. Thank you. So we're using Merlot. I went to the winery today and asked the lady what's the best wine, and she said it's Merlot. You do want something drier because you are going to put some sugar into it. So starting with the sweet wine isn't going to be the best idea because then you have to be overly sweet. Drier wine will have more room to take up some flavor. This is a Croatian Merlot, but if you want to go with a California Merlot, French Merlot as well, go ahead. Or any other red wine of your choosing. But it has to be dry, not sweet. So now that it's coming to a boil, we will immediately cut the heat, take our hot lid, and leave it and let it rest for 10 to 15 minutes. So while our Kuhano Vino is resting and infusing with all of the spices, let's turn our attention back to the Friutle. Now this has doubled in size. I always love revealing it after leaving it to sit and rise because it just always amazes me which bigger it gets. It doubles in size. There's not much we have to do here, so we'll just go head on right over to the stove where we'll fry them up. So now we're over here at the stove. We have our oil up to temperature, and it's time to make the Friutle. So we have 2 small spoons, and with them is how we're going to form the Friutle. So we take a little bit of batter, just a bit up along the side, and we'll try to form it into somewhat of a ball as such. It's a little sticky, so it doesn't go as easily, but if you can form it into at least somewhat close to a ball, then we're good. And we'll just pour it into the oil. And if it starts to bubble up immediately, then we know we have the right temperature. Just go through and keep adding in Friutle to the oil as you have room, and you want them to get to a nice golden brown. It's okay if you don't have a totally perfect ball. The imperfections is part of it. To move them around, make sure all sides get thoroughly golden. And once everything is gold all the way through, you can pull them out, let the oil drip off, and place them on to a plate. We'll continue to do this until all of the batter is cooked. So now our Friutle are done, and our Kuhano Vino is done. So of course it's time to try everything. Let me start the Kuhano Vino because I'm way more excited about this one. The smell is unbelievable. All the spices just hitting your face, and the warmth from the wine. This is now Christmas time. So to serve, I have a orange slice that I have saved. I'm gonna put it into our cup, and with the ladle, we're trying to get all the wine while not getting the spices. As good as the spices are, they're not good for drinking. I'm pretty excited, so we're just gonna give this a taste for Greg first. It certainly is Christmas time. I know I'll say it a lot that this is the taste of Christmas, but everything is going to be the taste of Christmas. Just Kuhano Vino is the only thing that we really get only at this time of year. And the spices are so warm and make you feel so happy or remind you of home. It is the drink of Christmas. Let's put it that way. As much as it pains me to let this sit for a little bit, we have to move on to the Friutle. So, like I was saying before, all these imperfections here that we have in the Friutle are kind of part of their charm. It's not so fun when it's just a perfectly round sphere. You want to see these little nooks and crannies on there. That shows that these were made fresh, these are homemade, they're not from a factory. And it's so simple too, there's no reason not to make these. They're even better home than the ones you get out. Plus the ones that you get out are probably gonna be like €5 for maybe like a small basket, so that's 10 to 12 of them. I didn't count how many there, but there are way more than 10 to 12 here for probably the same amount, €5, when you take everything into consideration. But that's just my 2 cents. Still buy them when you go out. They are good. It's part of the charm, walking around the city with the cone of Friutle and a glass of Kuhano Vino. So to top, I have some Nutella that I've mixed with maybe a tablespoon of milk that I've warmed for 10 seconds, and then as much Nutella I could get to make it nice and liquidy. So I'll just go right on top. Everything. Some gloves, some streaks. Once again, it's the imperfections that make them good. So now let's go ahead and give our taster Grey a good ratio of Nutella to Friutle. I mean, there's something about fried dough that's just amazing no matter how you make it. Be it in Friutle, zeppelis, beignets, all of them are always going to be amazing. And the added Nutella on there really adds some extra sweetness. The batter itself didn't have too much sugar into it, but adding the Nutella on top really makes sure that you get some sweetness, but it's not overpowering. And that's kind of why we didn't put a lot of sugar in to begin with, because we knew we'd be serving it with the Nutella. So there we have Friutle di Kuhano Vino. Dobar tek. Perfect. Love how great that came out.
Are you using it all?
Yeah.
Okay.
It goes down a lot.
How long did it take you to render that from the butcher?
I did it in two steps, so like 1 kilo at a time, and it took maybe 2 to 3 hours each time.
Okay.